Hello guys, welcome back to another chapter. One sec, let me sit up because I know that didn't go well this time. Basically laughing at myself here. Cause only, my bad. Only I know this, but I told myself last chapter, only one more chapter. It's 3:11, you need to get to bed. Or you need to try to sleep again. You'll do one more chapter. And here we are with another chapter after that last one more chapter. So I don't know, it's just getting so good, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Mastermind Rise of Anarchy. Written by Clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. Read by the MHA. Chapter 28. Action. Summary. Action is the root of progress.
If I could expel every single one of you, I would.
Shoto glared at his class. Most of them looked contrite, some regretful, but a few looked resentful, and a few even glared right back. Of all the times for Nezu to decide to revoke his exclusion privileges, it had to be now. As much as he hated it, he understood where the rat was coming from. With all the negative press they were receiving after Bakugo's arrest, expelling the rest of the class wouldn't look good. But there had been a whole new kind of media nightmare as soon as the public put together that Tokoyami had dropped out, and it would only get worse if he had defected the league like his classmates seemed to believe. If he had defected, Shota wasn't convinced that the fact that his classmates literally had attacked him unprovoked had nothing to do with it. Actually, from what Eri had said about him, Shota was sure that the only reason he would join the league is because the heroes had pushed him out. Cece grabbed his arm. That's enough, Aizawa. Yeah, the kids definitely messed up, but no one's denying that. They attacked that evidence. What evidence? We had evidence, Kirishima interrupted. You saw the photo. We all did. Hell, by this point, everyone has. That much was unfortunately true. With everything happening with Bakugo, UA's marketing department has been too busy fighting fires to even realize the picture existed. And by the time they had started to scrub it from the internet, it was already too late. Too many people had saved it and uploaded it to different forums, and if the evidence was inconclusive from a legal standpoint, the court public opinion had a much lower bar. Shota wasn't an idiot. He knew what it looked like. In fact, a part of him was actually hoping that Tokoyami had joined the league. As messed up as it sounded, because that photo was running around, no matter what he did, there was always people who believed he was a villain. And that's just what happened to people who jump to conclusions like this. Shota activated his quirk. Enough. You attacked unprovoked. If the old vigilante laws were still in effect, you would have been charged without hesitation, even with your provisional license on UA grounds. If Tokoyami is a villain now, at least that is partially your fault. Jumping to conclusions gets people killed. He exhaled slowly and massaged the bridge of his nose in a half-hearted attempt to make his migraine go away. Detention for a week. You're all on house arrest, with the exceptions of the students who were not present. Don't you dare fight me on this. Thankfully, his students took their punishments with minimal resistance. There were few grumbles and more glares shot in his direction, but they'd come around, he'd hope. He sighed and turned back to Cece. Was that yours from them? Cece snorted. Not at all. Ordinarily, they would be expelled for a stunt like that. But they're still kids, and have been through too many betrayals to not see ghosts around every corner. I hate that we're doing it for the press, but maybe giving them a second chance is for the best. They're still kids eraser. I know, Shota said coldly. But so is Tokoyami. Are you sure about this, Inko? Mitsuki looked imposing facade at the hospital, which was more intimidating now that she knew who was inside. I mean, Katsuki is still in custody, and Inko grabbed her hand. And you're stressed and alone. Believe me, I thought she was crazy too when I first met her. But it helps to stick together. We already failed our sons, Mitsuki. We can't fail each other too. They didn't say another word as Inko led her past security through a maze of hallways, like she had been there a dozen times already. And Mitsuki was left wondering just how she'd miss. She should have reached out earlier. She just hadn't known how. So did they ever let you visit Izuku? Ever? Mitsuki winced at the sound of her voice echoing down the hall. Sorry, that was... Security at Tartarus is really high, Inko cut her off. But they could make visits work if I'd asked, maybe taken a bit, if they could do it. I doubt that Izuku wants to see me, though. I practically turned him into... No, I did turn him into. Not that I knew what he was doing at the time. It's complicated. Mitsuki bit her lip. If you'd known, would have you still done it? Inko looked at her seriously. I think he would have killed me before I got the chance. We're here. Mitsuki swallowed as Inko knocked on the door rapidly, not waiting for a response before she walked into the room, pulling Mitsuki into the room after her. She wasn't quite sure what she expected from Frieza Burn's mother, but it wasn't the dignified-looking woman who was currently staring at the window as she glanced towards them with calm eyes. Mitsuki was daggered inside, the door clicking shut behind her. Ah, Inko, I was wondering when you were gonna arrive. This is King's mother, I believe, correct? Mitsuki was still getting used to people calling her son by his villain name. Her son was a villain now. He had a villain name. He had killed someone. She was getting used to people calling her son by his villain name. Before she could stop herself, tears were running down her face, and the next thing she knew, she was being pulled onto a bed and enveloped in a deep hug. They stayed there until long after. It was probably awkward, but Mitsuki couldn't help but feel grateful anyways. Maybe Inka was right. They hadn't been there for their sons, but they could be there for each other, and they couldn't afford to fail again. Hitoshi knew that Aizawa had let Eri have complete freedom to watch what she wanted, but he wasn't sure if it was the best idea for her to stay glued to the news like this. He had already tried suggesting movies or games he thought she'd like, but knowing what was going outside didn't make him feel useless, like he wasn't a 7-year-old. An intern on screen rushed over to Kaiku Nigai, the current broadcaster, and handed him a packet while whispering into Miyagai's ear. Eyes widened as he cleared his throat, and the image changed behind him. In a shocking development, it appears that King was not only UA student to change sides last night. Are we looking at a phenomenon? Is 1A perhaps cursed class to go alongside the cursed throne? Only time will tell. Hitoshi's stomach dropped, and he heard Eri gasp beside him. No! Toko wouldn't, but he had dark shadow weapons so bluntly, and... Hitoshi glanced at her. I don't know. Let me text some people. I'll figure it out. A quick text was sent to the chat, confirmed that yes, Tokuyomi had left UA, and no, he wasn't coming back. The information accompanied by a surprised amount of virtual hate towards Tokoyami, and surprisingly, Aizawa, who had apparently been giving most of the class detention for reasons Hitoshi couldn't quite figure out, but had a sinking feeling of suspicion that it had something to do with how the class had been treating Tokoyami lately. He put his phone back in his pocket. Eri, it looks like it's true. How are you holding up? He expected tears. He expected her quick to go crazy, or for him to have brainwashed her to calm down. But what he didn't expect was anger. The sheer amount of wrath in Eri's eyes when she turned to him and made him lean back slightly. But the girl herself seemed completely in control. Shinso, I need you to help me record a video. Hitoshi blinked. Apparently Eri was just determined to surprise him. Okay, why? Eri looked determined as she went to grab a notebook from the collection spread across the kitchen table, spreading it onto his lap. Papa has been teaching me about political stuff, like activism and things like that, because I want to change the world and help everyone realize that it isn't black and white. For it isn't right. Life is gray and people are ignoring all the color. I've been looking at videos and articles and everything, and videos can reach a lot of people. Hitoshi's jaw was on the floor as he looked at the notebook, most of which was in a variety of glittery gel pens. He had to hand it to the girl. She'd actually done a lot of research on what made popular political stances and how to increase chances of a video going viral. Based off of the chicken scratch and margins, Aizawa had helped just as much as he could, but he probably hadn't had much time to do so. Hitoshi took a deep breath. How about you tell me what we want to do and we can record the video? But you're going to have to get Aizawa's permission before posting it. Deal? Eri gave him a small smile. Deal. Izuku smiled as the guard walked away, the note placed under his tray just as he'd requested. Tartarus was secure than most prisons, sure, but it was designed for quirks, not connections. A few well-placed threats and bribes came in handy, and it seemed like Shoto and the others were doing their job while he was out of commission. His weekly update on the outside world was usually tucked into his palm, and he blocked the cameras with his body as he read. But this week almost threw off his rhythm due to the news clipping that was tucked into the paper that almost fell out when Izuku picked it up. Thankfully, he was able to recover quickly, as he read the clipping first, since the guard obviously thought it was important if he broke into their routine to include it. Izuku's eyes scanned the article quickly, and he burst out laughing, not caring how crazy he looked to the guards currently watching the camera. They had already thought he was insane anyways, so we might as well let them. He crumpled the paper and wiped aside a few tears that had leaked out of his eyes, and laughed. Oh, Bakugo! Izuku grinned. You're always amazing. Ah! Okay, I'm sorry. I was just like really happy at the end there to get Izuku's perspective. We haven't seen it in so long, and I need more. I hope we get more. I can't wait. Anyways, I have no idea what that was. But yeah, like really tired. I know that like these are probably being scheduled release, but like I've recorded like the past if I finish chapter 25, this is like I don't know 3 chapters at like 2 or 3 a.m.
I spent an hour this morning / night doing it. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day / night or whatever time it is for you. I'm sorry for the thing there. My headphones were being stupid again. I was laying down. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Also, Ari, politics. I can't. Okay, goodbye.